catlovedreamingbeach.com. It's late. I'm very tired. I just finished working on a project that took me like 4 hours. I'm so glad I got it done. I have to make my bed. It's 11:11 p.m. Do you know where your children are? Mine are in the other room. They're not really listening to me. Get ready for bed. But anyway, I watched Karen Reed trial today. Oh, the floor is extremely creaky. Let's drink water. Oh, that one is gross. Blech, an old water. I watched it on Emily D. Baker, although I don't know, girl. I'm watching her. She's biased as fuck on this one. I mean, she's being somewhat kind of sort of reasonable. A little bit, but I honestly do feel that her entire chat is a echo chamber of Karen Reed freaking cult members. Because, oops. Oh, God. Drop that. I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't understand why people are so, like, I can't even hear me. I don't understand. I don't understand why people are so crazy about her. Like, I get that you think that it was a corrupt investigation. And I do agree on some level. I do agree. I won't deny that. I won't deny that there's obvious corruption in some ways. But does that mean that she should walk free? Maybe. I haven't made my mind up like so many people have. And many people feel. Well, they made their mind up the first time. And the first time, if I had been on the jury, I would have said, you know what? I think she hit him. I do think she hit him. I don't think she... to me, it's not beyond a reasonable doubt about... I mean, I would have said, no, she did not do it on purpose, or you didn't prove it. You didn't prove to me she did it on purpose. You proved that she's a fucking cheating, lying, not nice person. You proved that. But intentional M? No. But I still had a lot of doubt. I felt like a hung jury was the right answer. My hair's getting deflated. Made the bed. So, one of my skills is my intuition. I have a unique intuition. I'm not always right. I'm not a mind reader. I'm not a fortune teller most of the time. And sometimes I get things wrong. I admit that. I acknowledge that. That's what helps me grow. And I am in a major minority in my assessment, it seems, of the Karen Reed case. Although I'm obviously not the only person who thinks that she hit that man, because they are attempting to prosecute her a second time. And it might come out, as more comes out, it might come out that, oh wow, I really don't think she did it Or, you know, like maybe that's what I was waiting for the first time, the first trial. I was like, a lot of people think this woman is innocent and they're believing this completely outrageous, out there story that seems, to me, in my opinion, utterly ludicrous. And the idea that dozens of people are lying all for one woman to bring her down. I'm definitely getting tired as well. So you can see the flowers. Ugh. Oh, I just said that as if you heard my son. He's like, I'm so tired. Like, I'm tired too. Okay. I could be wrong. I don't mind being wrong. You know, the whole thing about being wrong, like, if you have the willingness to be wrong, you can learn a lot. And, so I could be wrong. Oh, that's what I was saying. It's really, really hard for me to wrap my mind around this idea that all these people... Oh, here comes my kid again. So, like, confirmation bias, you know, a lot of people, most people, they don't look for things. They don't look at things like, I want to find the evidence. I want to hear everything. I want to be objective and get the full story from both sides. And then I'm going to truly weigh and contemplate everything and then make a decision. You know, the majority of people don't have that level of critical thinking that they apply to complex things or even to simple things. Not everybody gets deep diving into introspective self-reflection and discernment, but some of us do. And, you know, hey, you can be an overthinker and go down the wrong rabbit hole. And sometimes it's vibes, and sometimes it's clues, and sometimes it's evidence, and sometimes it's like a conglomeration of all these things that it just kind of makes much more sense to me. It's not that it's not possible that many people would want to take down one person. But is it probable? And how do they benefit? Follow the money. Why would they do that? What do they gain? Did they have the opportunity? Did they have the motive? Did they benefit? Did she have an opportunity, a motive, or benefit? Was it more likely that she got enraged? We saw already how enraged she could get over something. For example, the full day onslaught of calls and texts and calls and texts because he said something that bothered her about how she was splurging on the kids. And we don't know what he said to her, but according to her, it was really bad. And he apologized quite a bit and said, like, stop calling me right now. I'm with the kids. Which she completely didn't care about. She totally railroaded him. Funny, people are like, Karen is innocent. She's getting railroaded. And I'm just like, is she though? Is she though? And like when you hear clips of her talk and you hear the text messages and you're going to hear those voicemails and you find out about what she was doing. Why? Why, y'all? What is it that you're seeing that is so special and wonderful about this woman that you think she's so innocent? I'm just like, psh. My intuition is ringing a different bell. And it ain't sweet and innocent railroaded poor old little Karen Reed. I'm just not vibing with that. Okay, I'm ready to go to sleep. It's 11:46. What was I saying? I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, the Karen Reed Kool-Aid. And the Canton Corpse Kool-Aid, like how corrupt they are, how corrupt corpse are. Maybe they are. There was the FBI. There was an FBI investigation. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. Dr. Daniel Rentschler. No, not Rentschler. Dr. Daniel Wolf. It's Andrew Rentschler. He talked for a few minutes today. I just think the confirmation bias is what I was saying. I find it, what I do find, so because I don't have like any stake in the outcome, it doesn't, yeah, it's a woman's life, and also it's a man's life. There's a man who died. It was a family's life. It was these two children who'd already been through two horrific tragedies. I have to yawn, please hold. Everything that they lived through. And they deserve justice for John. John deserves justice. Whatever that means. So for me, I don't have any stake in the outcome. Whether she's found guilty or not guilty, it's not going to change my life. It's not going to impact me other than my own curiosity, my own interest, and, making videos about what my opinion is, what my insight is into this case. And, I just found it really interesting today that listening to Dr. Daniel Rentschler, it seemed so obvious to me that he was being elusive. He wasn't answering a lot of questions. He couldn't remember shit. Like, you're a fucking bioengineer expert, dude, and yet you can't remember a few conversations from a year ago? And you deleted all your text messages, and then we don't know what they said to each other on phone calls, obviously, and then it came out that they were using Signal chat. The defense didn't disclose that they had paid the ARCA witnesses $24,000 for something, and a lot of correspondence, a lot of conversations, chats, phone calls, and they were all deleted, so there's no real record of it. And it's like, trust me, bruh, I'm cute and I got cute dimples, so I'm smiling with my cute dimples, and I sound believable, so trust me. Okay. Why does it matter so much? To me, it matters because the one thing that the majority of people who are so dead set pro Karen, that they always say is that the ARCA witnesses said there's no way that she could have hit him. And that's what they said, so therefore the case is, there's no case. He wasn't hit by a vehicle. They said that there's no way, and therefore there's no case. Well, first of all, Dr. Andrew Rentschler did say she could have nudged him with her SUV, which I talked about multiple times. And sometimes experts are biased. Sometimes. So they did not even inspect the vehicle. And one of the points of contention in today's discovery of voir dire was that he was telling the defense, hey, you might want to question me regarding this, that I didn't look at the vehicle, and you can explain, why that's not a big deal. But a quick little Google search, you ask, if I'm going to do an accident reconstruction and make a report that says that there's no way possible that this person was hit by a vehicle, and literally a man's life and his justice hinges on this. A woman's life and her freedom, or her freedom being taken away, hinges on my kid walking in. So people want to believe Karen Read is innocent, and so anybody who says anything that's good for her, they're like, yeah, that's the truth. Anything that is like bad for her, they're like, oh, they're lying. They're not making sense. Like, there was a guy today, he was testifying about John's phone and where John's phone was going. Where John's phone was going. Step by step, second by second, meter by meter. And people are in the chat like, oh my God, he's talking in meters just to confuse us. It's like, wow, just because you're ignorant as fuck. Like, just say you're dumb, you know? But anyway, I'm not trying to be cruel. It's late and I'm getting tired, but it's just like, wow. That guy, Dr. Daniel Rentschler, the cute guy with the adorable dimples, he was so evasive. He deleted over 100 some texts, phone calls, signal chats. We have no idea what they talked about. He got paid. He was like, I don't know, I just track my time and I give it to my guy and I get my salary, you know? And I'm like, okay. I gotta have a client where I have to track my time. I mean, I always track my time for all my clients, but, you know, I have one client where I track, like, I'm working for this client, I'm doing this for this client, this is for this other client, you know. I get that, you know, and then somebody else is submitting the bills, but, like, you know you're working on it. I don't know. I just feel like it's really, really shady. And then Alessi, my hair is like all crazy looking. Alessi was coming all hot talking about, you were using the signal chat because they wanted to. Alessi's the defense guy. He's like, they were trying to protect, basically hide. I was like, wait, why? How is that helpful? That doesn't sound helpful. The point is that I was like, this dude is being so crazy elusive and nary a fucking honest person up in here in this chat willing to admit it. And yet they were like ripping Jen McCabe apart, talking about, she won't answer a straight question, this, that, the other thing. But this guy wouldn't answer a straight question, but it's all okay. It's all fine. Because he's the fucking hinge. He's the one. Him and his other dude, they're the ones who these super pro-Karen people, they hinge everything they believe. Well, not everything, but it's like, they heard him say, oh, I don't think she could have hit him. And they ran with that. And they ignored all the rest. Even Andrew Rentschler saying, well, she could have nudged him with the SUV, which would have led to his death, and very well likely may have. But anyway, I'm kind of getting my instinct is telling me there's a much greater chance that people who are pro-Karen are going to have a rude awakening, and she's going to end up in jail. And I think it's going to be for aggravated manslaughter. But yet again, the prosecution is only a week into their case, so God knows what's going to happen in the next 2 months and how my mind will shift and what the defense will prove, you know, or the doubt they'll raise. But anyway, I'm not an echo chamber, pro-Karen Read echo chamber. I am leaning towards she's guilty, at least guilty of count 2, that she did hit him while she was drunk and she left him there and he died. And, but we'll see. Don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, join me, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss my next video. And I'll see you there. Bye! See you, my sweet peaches. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. I really love it when you comment. Don't forget to comment. And so I'm just driving home from dropping my kids off at school. And I was just thinking more about the Ark of Witnesses. And yesterday I did a little bit of research into if you're an accident reconstructionist and you do your reconstruction and you don't look at the car at all and you just base it off of images, and you don't look at the body at all and you just look at photos, could that impact your your results, your testing? And the answer was absolutely yes. It mentioned all of these many reasons why if you only look at images, maybe videos or photos, you can easily miss a whole slew of clues that might tell you something that you can't tell from the images. So there's that. It's a very real possibility. And the fact that that particular issue was one of the issues that the Ark of Witness, Dr. Daniel Wolf, was talking to Alan Jackson about. This is something you might want to clear up. You might want to make sure the jury knows that it's okay. My testing isn't less, it's not less valid because I didn't actually test the vehicle at all, but actually it is a bit less valid. Okay, that's what I found. That's my opinion, which makes a lot of sense to me. Because if you're testing a crash, you're trying to reconstruct it, and you don't have the vehicle, you can't see the depth of the crunch, and you can't, there's so many things that could get missed. And I do believe that. And then there's this other thing, this other very important truth, that often, very, very often, witnesses, expert witnesses, will say what they were paid to say. Does that seem illegal? Does that seem like somebody's lying? Somebody was paid to lie? Well, the thing about science and facts and data is that you can often manipulate the data to look like what you want it to. And if you don't know this from your own intuition, if you don't know this from your own experience, to learn that yes, data can be manipulated and opinions can be bought and paid for, and actually sometimes experts are biased, and sometimes experts do have a side that they're trying to promote. And to say that that's not true, that's a lie. And, I personally feel like they would have been more effective. To me, it would be more effective I would believe them more if they said, you know what, we are defense witnesses. We did get paid by them. We did talk to them extensively on text messages and phone calls and signal chats and maybe, in-person calls. And And, this is what we believe is really, really the truth. So that's why we're doing it. But instead, they try to paint themselves as these completely unbiased. Oh my God, I need to get a shot of these trees before they're all gone. So they present it as if, oh, we are completely unbiased. We were hired by the FBI. And they didn't say that. They weren't allowed to say that. So, I don't know. I personally feel like I would believe them more if they were more transparent about that. And if they hadn't hid the fact that they got paid and by the defense, and if they hadn't deleted 100+ text messages and then acted extremely elusive, like, well, I delete shit all the time. Yeah, sure you do. I'm sure. I mean, I do, but I'm not an expert witness working on a case that was a mistrial, and you know damn well there's going to be another trial coming up, and you know damn well that you're going to be asked to testify as a witness in this trial, and you know damn well there's discovery, which means you have to show what information you have and all that stuff. And then you're deleting text messages that aren't even a year old. I find it shady. And, that's what I was saying. Well, I guess his dimples is good enough for some people. Some people who are so desperate to believe Karen Read at all costs, no matter what. Some cute-ass dimples. Oh, he's got cute dimples. What a smile. He's so cute. He would never lie. What a handsome young man. What a standing up, handsome young white man. He's got pretty privilege. He's got white privilege. He's got male privilege. Right. And I was watching his testimony, and I'm like, or the voir dire, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This guy is even more of an elusive answerer. He has so many shady, like, questionable things going on, and everybody in the chat is like, oh, he's a saint. Fuck Jen McCabe. Fuck Carrie Roberts. Fuck John's mom. It's like everybody is a bad guy except Karen. Okay, and anybody who's on Karen's side, I guess. But I think that's bullshit. I really, really do. All right, now I'm inside. I got work to do as well. I just think it's super naive. Super naive to... so naive to just act like that expert has... like that he's pure and he's just a good, kind-hearted man who's just out for truth, and he's a saint, he's an angel, he's not getting paid, he doesn't have an ulterior motive, oh no. Well, okay, you can believe that if you want to, just like I can assess, just like I want to, just like what feels true to me. Like, I don't believe that they're not biased. I don't believe that, I don't. And another thing that I will continue to share and talk about is the fact that Andrew Rentschler did admit on the stand, he said she could have nudged him, and, he did wrap it up in this, like, well, I don't think that she did, and it's unlikely, but it could have happened. And I've said many times, these pro-Karen people who are just so dead set on proving that she's innocent, they overlook that. They don't remember that. You point it out to them and they deny it. It's like, okay, I'm watching the trial, unbiased, trying to find out all the truth
other people are watching the trial specifically to prove only their perspective. And yeah, I mean, I'm open to the truth, and I'm not trying to write a narrative. And I have no personal win or lose or gain or loss. I just want the truth. So it's 2:15 p.m. Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. Karen Reed's trial is paused on lunch. I've been watching all day while trying to get some work done and working on this video. So I just want to say, the way it's going so far today, it's only making me feel more sure that Karen Reed hit John Okeefe with her SUV and left him outside to die in the snow. And Jen McCabe's text that was time stamped at 6 something, how's long to die in cold, but also had this weird timestamp at 2 something. And in the first trial, they tried to make that seem like that was everything, a lot of a big deal. And the Commonwealth said last time through their expert, no, that was basically just because the browser was open at that time, and it was just like a double thing, and the typo in the search made it clear that it was a very low likelihood of being that she actually searched for that twice, and that the right time was at the 6 o'clock, not 2 a.m. when she was looking at her daughter's soccer game stuff for the next day or whatever. So the expert, who has a nice accent, and I quite like him, from Celebrite, he was reiterating today that that actually Celebrite removed that line, and the defense, Alessi, was trying to make it seem like that was somehow nefarious. And then on the redirect, the attorney Brennan brought it out that no, they had Celebrite had updated the way that they pull and format and program their data, and essentially it was cleaned up, and it was not accurate, and that's why it was removed, because it was not an actual search. It was a glitch, like that her browser had been open, and when she went to search on the same browser, it just like did this double thing, saying basically this is the time, this is the last time that she was on this browser. And they tried to explain that the reason it said it was deleted in the first trial was exactly because of that reason. So they reiterated that this time, and I thought it was very effective. They also had a lot of additional information about where John's phone was. And although the data, they did try to push this morning that from the defense side, that there were these like circles of where it was pinging. And there was a few times where that ping circle was just big enough where if you go on the, on the widest part of that circle, it looked like he could have maybe been in the house. And that's what they were trying to prove. However, there was temperature data for the phone being recorded, which showed that the temperature was at like 70 something up until the moment when he got out of the car. And when he got out of the car, the temperature of the phone started to decline rapidly over the next few hours. And I actually Googled how's long to die in cold, and it takes about an hour. You can actually die outside in the freezing in about an hour. So because he was laying on top of the phone was found underneath him. For that first hour or so, his body temperature was keeping it warm, so it was declining slowly. And then he died, and his body got cold quick. And then between the hard, cold ground and his dead, cold body, the phone rapidly declined in temperature. At no point did the temperature of the phone go back up, which would have been what they wanted to see on the defense side to prove that he went inside the house. So maybe they could try to argue, well, he never went inside the house. They beat him up on the lawn before he ever could even get in the house. Somebody from the house came outside the house and beat him up and left him out there, but they would have to prove that. Now that phone is gone. Brian Higgins' phone was left in the incinerator in the FBI. The FBI! I say it that way because Emily D. Baker plays a little clip that says that she got off some radio thing that she used to listen to when she was younger, and every time she hears the word FBI, she hears the FBI, which is not what I hear. But anyway, I'm watching it on her, although I'm partially like, I'm about to pop off her channel and go start watching On Law and Crime, where they just stream it. And there's no fucking babbling and talking and shit over top, which, I feel like what she's doing, like she actually admitted today, Emily D. Baker, the lawyer I watched, she admitted, oh, I'm being a little bit over snarky. And, she like took back some of her snark because she was saying these comments, which I was like, why is she saying that? Like, to me, she, like, the reason that her chat has turned into an echo chamber of pro Karen Reed is because she's inflaming them. She keeps expressing this snark and this annoyance and this, like, she just has no patience, mostly, for the prosecution. And of course, the people who are open to the possibility that Karen did hit him, they're not welcome in the chat. And so, like me, it's not that cool to watch when, if you put your opinion, like today I commented a few times and I didn't even bother to see if anybody wrote me back, so in that sense, it's like I can say what I want to say and not have to worry about what other people say to me, like anyone can. But it's just annoying when I just feel like she's so biased. And again, I do not fucking understand why. I get that Trooper Proctor was corrupt. I'll just say that. And I even see that Judge Canoni is biased. And I guess for that, like, is that enough of a reason to be like, ugh? I don't know. I just feel like every day, bit by bit, little by little, it's coming out more and more. Yes, she hit him. She left him on the ground. And I really think it's going to come down to which count. Same with trial one. I think that even if they had said, even if it had been true that they had unanimously agreed that she didn't do it on purpose, she didn't do it like, she wasn't like, I want you dead, motherfucker, I will hit you. Okay, they're saying, supposedly, allegedly, the jury from the first trial, after the fact, after they came out saying, we are deadlocked, we cannot agree, and making us deliberate any further would be like going against our principles, okay? After that, they supposedly had been unanimous on 2 counts, which is insane to me, because why wouldn't they say, we're unanimous on counts 1 and 3, but we cannot decide about count 2? It makes no sense that they would say, we are deadlocked and cannot come to an agreement. So one thing does not sound like the other. But anyway, I would not disagree with the idea that I could see them saying, all right, I don't think she tried to kill him. And, did she know that she hit him? So there's she did it and she wanted to do it. She did it. She did it and she knew she did it. So I think there's the whole she did it. I think that you're going to get to the she did it. And I think you're going to get to the she did it. She hit him with her car and she was drunk. And those 2 things alone. All right, looking over here at my computer. In Massachusetts, if someone kills someone while drunk driving, the minimum sentence is 5 years. That's very low in state prison. And the maximum sentence is 20 years. There's a mandatory fine of up to $25,000 and a minimum 15-year license suspension, potentially leading to a lifetime suspension. Oh, I turned off the light. All right, let's see. 2nd-degree murder is count 1. Manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence is count 2. Leaving the scene of a motor vehicle collision causing death is count 3. Second degree murder is causing someone's death with malice, but without premeditation. Maximum is life in prison with parole eligibility after 15 years. The minimum, there's no minimum, but the courts typically impose lengthy sentences, 20 to 25 years or more. We got to get going. All right, let's see. Second degree murder, causing someone's death without malice, but without premeditation. I already read that. Okay. And then count 2, manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence, which is causing death by driving under the influence in a reckless or negligent manner. This is the statute of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 265, Section 13 and a half. Maximum, well, the minimum 5 years mandatory if convicted. Maximum is 15 to 20 years in state prison. If guilty of count 2 alone, she could get 5 to 20 years in prison with a mandatory minimum of 5 years with no parole eligibility until then. Count 3, leaving the scene of a collision causing death. The definition, failing to stop and report a crash that caused death. And penalty is 10 years in prison maximum. The minimum is 1 year. Mandatory must serve at least 1 year. And if she's guilty of count 3 alone, then that would be 1 to 10 years in prison with at least 1 year mandatory. But if she hadn't hit him, then so count 3 cannot exist without count 2. Count 2 can exist without count 1, but let's see. So count 2 can exist by itself if she hit him while she was drunk and she didn't know it. She didn't do it on purpose and she didn't know it. And since she didn't know it, then count 3 would be not guilty because she left the scene of a collision causing his death, but she didn't know it, so she wouldn't be guilty. So if she just actually hit him while she was drunk, but she didn't know it, and then like later when she came to and she was like, did I hit him? Because where the fuck is he? And he didn't answer his phone. And but again, I feel like her having some inkling like, ooh, did I hit him? Would, to me, she had to have some inkling that she had hit him at the time. Like, I don't know. I think if she truly, truly, truly in her heart and soul dropped him off at a party and saw him go in, why would she be saying, I hit him? And, okay, say, well, she didn't think that until she pulled up and she saw the lump of snow and realized it was him. Maybe then she said it. But then why did she say on the phone to Carrie, John's dead? But then you might say, well, Carrie was lying. But then why was she so frantic, though? That's my whole thing, is the level of franticness that she had that morning leads me to believe that she had an inkling that she hit that motherfucker, because I believe she's jealous. I believe she's unhinged jealous. But I don't think she's so unhinged jealous that she would be driving out at 5 o'clock in the morning in a blizzard because she thinks he's at somebody else's house. I mean, maybe she would, but I don't know. I think the phone, temperature, I gotta go in 7 minutes. I'm gonna wear it. So, well, as I was saying, I do believe that there is a type of confirmation bias. Goes both ways. I try to be as objective as possible, especially in this situation, because I literally have nothing to gain or lose. If she's not guilty, I gain nothing. If she's guilty, I gain nothing. If she's not guilty, I lose nothing. If she is guilty, I lose nothing. I'm not a personal friend. I'm not a family member. I don't know her. I don't know John. I don't know any of them. I'm just a curious person online who makes content about various things that interest me. And this is one of those things that has really, really intrigued me and interested me. And I gotta get ready. Go get my kids. And I think it's fascinating, and I think it's more about people and what people like. I'm never unwilling to call out a white woman for being a privileged biatch who will do violence for her own gain. Okay, I don't have that bias where, oh, she's a wealthy white woman, she must be innocent, they must be railroading her. I'm looking at the facts and the evidence, and the people who believe that she's utterly innocent also are hinging. They're either completely believe that where she lives everybody's corrupt and there's just no way she could get a fair trial, or they're framing her, or they think that the other people are shady, the other people are the murderers, the other people are the co-conspirators, the other people are protecting the real murderer, whoever he is and why ever he did it, or she, or whatever. Is it Jen McCabe because she was so jealous that she wanted John for herself? I heard that one. Was it Colin Albert, the teenager who came to say happy birthday to his cousin, who just, because he was like, ooh, I'm going to get you on a fucking Snapchat or something like that. A literal teenager trying to act cool on a video. And that was the evidence that he was a murderer, that he would outright kill a grown-ass man, a cop, in front of his cousins, or what they went on. Like, it's just so ridiculous, so absurd. It just sounds like the absurdities of an absurd person who's spinning it out of control and trying to find any excuse to blame anyone and everyone but herself. And I do feel that ultimately she is going to be found guilty at least of manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle. And if, that maybe they'll think, oh, well, she didn't know. Maybe I could see if she's found guilty of anything, best case scenario for her, well, the absolute lowest would be leaving the scene of a collision causing death, which is 1 year mandatory. That would be like the absolute lowest she could get. But I don't see how they could come to a guilty on count 3 of leaving the scene of a collision causing death if she wasn't the one who caused it. Right? So I think if she's going to be found guilty on count 3, they're going to have to say she did it. Count 2. So but they might say, well, she did it. She was drunk and she did it, but she didn't know it. So she won't get count 2. So there is a scenario where they could find her guilty of count 2. Oh, I gotta go. I gotta go pick up my kids. I'm not sure how to mute this. It plays out, but I don't know if there's like a mute button. But anyway, I got to get going to get my kiddo. Actually, I do have about 10 more minutes till I have to actually leave. Okay, so let me reset that alarm. I'll give it 4. So, I could see a reality where they say, you know what, it does really seem like she hit him because his phone showed like, yeah, okay, so the bigger circle showed like he could have been done gone in the house. But the fact that the phone just kept getting colder and colder, there was at no point did the phone get warm enough. From the moment he got out of the car till 6:15 or something in the morning when Kerry Roberts picks his phone up, probably after they took his dead body away. She saw the phone, she picked it up, she put it in her pocket, and she gave it to somebody after a little while. So it showed that at 6:15 or whatever, it starts to warm back up and it starts to move. And that's when she found it. But it also showed that from the moment that he got out of Karen's car, although the wider bubble of like the transmission, you know, when it's looking for you and it's finding where you are, there's like the center point of where it's radiating around your phone. And it said throughout the night there was like a few points where the center, like it moved just slightly, which is what the expert said is just the natural cause, like just cause of like it's just pinging. Not that you're necessarily moving, but it's just the ping is not at the exact pinpoint center each time. So it's going to just kind of look like it's bouncing around just a little. But that ultimately, he said that there were high accuracy pinpoints. There was like a bunch of pings, but there were ones that were registered as like high accuracy. And then he made a grid of just those, and he put the bubble, you know, the circle around where the phone could have gone on just those high accuracy ones. And it showed that to me, he couldn't have been in the house. There was just like one tiny corner of the house. And even in the biggest one that was the closest to the house, that looked like the biggest, widest part of that bubble where he could have maybe been, had a lot of the house, even not all. But I'm like, so you're going to tell me he went into the house, but the center of where his phone was pinging didn't? It just doesn't make sense. Because to me, yeah, they're trying to prove there is a couple of points where the widest circle of the biggest pings kind of edge towards the house. That's pretty fucking lame. Especially when you got a man dead on the ground where he was dropped off, and you got his phone not getting warmer at any point until it was picked up by Kerry Roberts when they found his body. And you got Karen saying, I hit him, could I have hit him, whatever. You got a bunch of people in the house, varying ages and genders and, you know, relations and things, all saying they never saw John in the house. And yeah, there was somebody who said, oh, well, I saw a guy with dark hair, but then somebody else was like, Colin was there, and somebody was like, I didn't know who that was. All right, I gotta go. I was just thinking, I think I can really see that he was breaking up with her ass. They were fighting, like, well, she was trying to fight with him the whole entire day. All day, texting, calling. And, whoops. And, like, insisting that he tell her that he's not into this anymore. And also, she has been trying to fuck Brian Higgins for weeks. Now I'm here, a little safer. So there could be some evidence that, you know, really makes me think, like, oh, for example, something that people keep saying, that how long did it take to drive from 34 Fairview back to John's house? And what time was he, you know, what time was it last registered that he was in her car? Because there was like a timestamp about what time she got back to his house. And I don't know exactly what that timestamp was based on. Was it based on a camera that was installed? You know, was that exactly synced up to the exact minute? Was it 2 or 3 minutes off? Was it more than that? Was it based on her car or her cell phone data? Like, that's what I don't know, that question, the answer. So if it comes out that the time that she got back out at John's house, means it's physically, humanly impossible that she couldn't have been there because there was no way she could have gotten back that fast, then maybe that's a fact that I'll be like, okay, well, there, how, maybe she left him and he was outside after, maybe he didn't go inside, maybe he stayed outside and he was walking around in circles, angry, thinking about what she was saying or something, and he slipped and he fell and he hit his head on the pole. I don't know. I'm just told, but so I'm making something up. I'm making something up completely as to how it could have been. Anyway, that's why I'm watching the trial, to see what evidence actually comes out, see what experts have to say. And do I trust those experts? Do I think those experts are biased? Do I think those experts have an agenda? Do I think that they have good data or not? And yeah, so those are my thoughts for now. See you later. Don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, join me, hit the bell notification. Join me on Patreon, join me on YouTube, join me on my own website. All platforms have the same name, catlovedreamingpeach.com.
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 catlovedreamingpeach.com.